So the AI disruption, why everyone must become entrepreneurial. Everybody needs to make a shift to become an entrepreneur as we head into 2026, and this is the reason why.
Writing an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal warning that AI has learned to bypass commands from humans when asked to shut itself down.
As you know, there's lots of talk about artificial intelligence and concerns that it could make many people's jobs obsolete.
AI is disrupting the way the world is operating at the moment, and everybody is going to have to become more entrepreneurial to stay afloat. It's not going to be an option, it's going to be a necessity. One of the biggest employers, like if you look at different businesses like Fiverr's CEO, for example, says that the company are going to become an AI first company. They've laid off like 350 people already.
The CEO of Fiverr, that's a platform that connects freelancers and companies looking to hire them, sent this email to his employees last month. And as you see there, it says in part, quote, AI is coming for your jobs. Heck, it's coming for my job too. This is a wake-up call.
But that goes far and wide. You could go across so many individual businesses. Accenture, they laid off 11,000 people, I think it was, in one go. So you might be wondering which businesses and which jobs are going to survive the AI revolution. Unfortunately, the answer is very minimal or none. That's because every business, every industry is going to be impacted by AI in some way. Whether your job role just changes and you become an architect, that's if you are lucky. But for the rest of you, you're in a position where you're replaceable. And if a machine can do it for cheaper, you better believe the company are going to replace you. In this video, I'm going to explain what's happening at a very high economic level. I'm also going to explain everything and why the world feels so expensive right now here in the UK. There's issues with the older generation putting heating on. They can't afford to put the heating on. Electricity's through the roof. The world's going crazy. But the good news is, once you understand what I'm about to explain to you, you'll know exactly how to respond to the shift in the market so that the rest of your life is great and wonderful. So, who am I? I'm Michael Elliott. If we haven't met before and you've not watched one of my videos, I'm an entrepreneur. I've lived through many disruptions over the last 15 to 16 years. I've started and scaled multiple companies, both bricks and mortar and digital. I own 3 7-figure businesses now as it stands, a PPC agency, an AI agency, and a holiday home business in the UK. I own 6 businesses in total, and I accumulate 4 million, 5 million on a good year in revenue annually. So I'm in a good position to be able to explain to you how to do this, because not only have I done that, I've done it very quickly. So for example, my PPC agency went from 0 to 80k a month within the space of 6 months. I'm going to be able to assist you with this pivot as we go through this. So we have to zoom out. Before we look at anything else, we have to look at the big picture, because it's not about AI solely. It's about a shift that's been happening for hundreds of years, has happened many, many, many times previously, and this is what we're going to go through. In the 1950s, we saw a decline of the agricultural age. So back then, land was gold. If you had land, you were the king, okay? You owned land, you owned everything. That ownership gave you power. But then that gave way to the industrial age. And when the industrial age came, that was driven by factories and offices, more similar to what you're probably used to now. Because people, they had to live within a certain radius of work. The system was built on wages. Your grandparents, well, it depends on your age, but my grandparents would probably go pick their wages up in cash. They would go to the pub, they would have a beer, they would do whatever. But at that time, the system was built on the wage system and how much you were paid. Now we've entered the digital age. Geography doesn't matter. You're watching from wherever you are in the globe. It doesn't matter where you are. You can make money, you can digest content, you can educate yourself. Farming and factories don't matter as much as what they used to. You know, significant impacts down. Like, you know, it's a big change and a big shift. Instead, value is built on 4 new assets. Those assets are intellectual property, data, media, and code. So software, AI tools, technology. Intellectual property is exactly what it says on the tin. It's your ideas, your knowledge, your intellectual property. Data is collected insights. If you look at the biggest corporations and the best ones, the ones that are successful, they use their data to generate more business, reduce churn, etc., by automating things, especially now. But data is so important. But that's not just limited to a business. The data that I have stored in my brain from all my business education, you know, I'm not Warren Buffett, but when it comes down to the sort of approach to the data that's inside of my brain, I have access to a lot of key core points where I instantly have flashbacks and memories from that. Media, videos, published content, exactly like you're watching now, that falls under a personal brand narrative. And the schooling system prepared people for the industrial age, but that system's in decline, in a major decline. And I've been preaching this for such a long time. When it comes down to the schooling system and educational system, it's foundationally and fundamentally broken. It doesn't teach what it needs to teach, like in today's age. I don't know about you, but when I left school, I didn't know about how to open a business, what limited companies were, how to open a bank account. I didn't even know half of that when I was at university because I had too many beers. But when it comes down to understanding what's happening, the school, all of the education system is actually set up to educate you for the wrong age. This is the digital age now. That was the industrial age. If you think about it, one of the most famous and best references that you could look at from this would be The Simpsons. So, like, if you grew up in the 80s, I didn't. I was born in 1992, but The Simpsons at 6 p.m. was something that was on in my house as I grew up. You saw the peak of the industrial age. Literally perfect. You had Homer. He was the guy who went to work, supported a family with 3 kids, ran a car, ran the house, had a stay-at-home wife, holidays, comfortable lifestyle, Duff beers sat at the side of him every night chilling. That was possible because the industrial age rewarded the average. It rewarded you just turning up and doing something. And then, you know, it ran on like a bell curve. Most people clustered around the middle. That middle ground was paid reasonably well in comparison to inflation. Wages were designed to pay a standard rate for a standard work that was in line with inflation. So back then you could buy a house, and buying a house would be like 5 times or 4 times or 6 times what your average income, the average salary was for the country. Whereas now it's something stupendous, like it's like, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 times. It's crazy. It's definitely at least 15, 20 times the wage, and it depends obviously on where you live. The point is that you can see how that transition has changed, and how what used to be applicable, people are now working 2 jobs, have multiple people, partners don't see each other, they cross over just to feed the family and keep the heating on and feed their kids. It's not right. Now, when it comes to the digital age, the bell curve's gone. We operate under a power law. And this is going to mean that the top 10%, the higher echelon of society, if you like, are going to have all of the reward. They're going to have everything. And the other 90% share what's left. For example, Google's the #1 search engine, at least in my country. And many other countries, major countries, the US, but you know, you do have other search engines in China, etc. But when it comes down to Google being the #1 search engine, it gets 90% of the traffic. Microsoft picks up the pieces with the other 5%, and then you've got all the also-rans like DuckDuckGo, etc. I'm not trying to shit on DuckDuckGo there because I've used it before, but I'm just saying, like, they pick up the pieces, they pick up the breadcrumbs. Now, that's the example. Well, how do you win in a power law world? How do you win in the Game of Thrones? Well, the message is quite clear, and that's that being average is not enough. You cannot be average and maintain a lifestyle that is comfortable anymore. It's simply not possible. You have to aim to be in the top 10% of something. Whatever that something is doesn't really matter, but you have to be in the top 10% of it. That you can hedge your bets by picking a good industry. I advise on, in the description there'll be a link to a video where I rank businesses that I would start. But when it comes down to what you should do, if you have a lane and you want to stay in it, that's okay, but you have to be at the forefront of the top 10% of it to be relevant. So the good news is you define your own game from here. You either seize the moment or you die on the hill. Pick the niche, be specific, dominate the space. Simple as that. It can be something you're comfortable with now. It can be something completely new. You're not too late to the party when it comes to AI. So if you wanted to learn AI, by all means, subscribe to the channel. Watch my content. Follow other influencers or mentors out there. Make sure you pick the right ones, not the gimmicky ones. But you can learn. Pick any niche. It doesn't matter. But if you're good at something now, you can be good at something in the digital age. You just need to be in the top 10% of it. For example, instead of just positioning yourself in, say, like a social media manager, you would change that social media management position to being the best social media manager for people with personal brands. And you would laser in and have that 10% rule of targeting the content production for the biggest influencers on the planet. That's a good example. It's a clear game. You can become a key person of influence in the industry because it's small enough for you to be able to do so. And once you're at the top, you can pivot. So you're producing content for like Grant Cardone and Gary Vee, and you're in this position where you're managing their social content, just for example. Then you pivot and you create a micro SaaS that allows people who are like myself, who are producing content but are not at that level, but need support to get distribution of their content out there. You pivot into something like that. And then you pivot and you might go into something else. But the fact is you can follow this path. Niche, pivot, niche, pivot, niche, pivot. And you can explore all of the opportunities in your own niche and then even potentially go back and restart the process of the 10% model again, where you see gaps in the market and opportunity. But you first have to nail being in the 10% of whatever it is that you're doing. So how does AI impact income? So if let's look at like now, today, as it stands, how money currently enters each individual household, okay? There are 4 main channels of income. You have wages, which make up 60% of it. You go to work, you earn money. Average work, average pay, the industrial age system, which still stands. 60% of wages. Then you have government benefits floating around 15, 20%, 15, 18%, whatever. That includes welfare subsidies. We obviously had the massive issue with the pandemic, which we're never going to recover from by the looks of it. It feels ominous anyway. But the universal basic income that is structured in most countries, like the government benefits are there. You then have performance fees, and that's commissions, sales, self-employment, entrepreneurship. Very similar to the path I took. I am performance based. What I do every day and how hard I swing on a daily basis ultimately determines how much I make money wise, because I put myself in that position. And the other one is rent and yield, passive income from assets, people who've had cash flowing businesses or they've inherited properties, through family members, whatever. Shares from dividends from shares and things like that, that's also included. But rent and yield make up the extra percentages. If they weren't exact, it's fine. I'm just giving you the rough numbers. Because what is key is what changes in the AI world. Wages decline. They get slashed literally in half, if not worse. This could drop to sub 30% of income, right? Because half of the displaced workers will then rely on government benefits because they're not employable, they haven't pivoted, so they're not in the top 10%, and they're left with a fundamental lack of understanding and skill set in a digital age. They're built in the industrial age. They're sat there thinking, well, I used to go to work and earn money. Well, now there's no jobs that suit that. I have to create something myself. And the government is going to be under massive pressure to find those and fund those benefits because, that's going to be an issue. And what happens? Then wealth taxes target assets. So inheritance tax goes up, all your corporation taxes go up, which has already happened here in the UK. And then what happens is everybody flees to Dubai and pays 0% tax. And then that cripples the country even more. So the businesses that do stay get charged more money. But anyway, that's for another day. Meanwhile, entrepreneurs who are using intellectual property, media, code, and data, they'll scale faster, they'll take the opportunity, they'll be globally mobile so they can live anywhere, taking advantage of those tax systems that I mentioned, because you better believe that if it continues how it is in the UK, I won't be here for a significant amount of time. I have a base here for a reason. I have 2 daughters of certain ages, but you better believe that if it continues on this trend, all of my businesses will be relocating, because you can live anywhere with a laptop. That's a lifestyle. Like, I could be anywhere that I wanted to be, but it's also that governments will struggle to tax them. Like, they can't tax me if I just revoke my citizenship in the UK and go to Dubai. They can't tax me. So that's the that's the key, and that's why the government are in a catch-22, in my opinion, because they need the income, they need to tax more. They tax more, people flee. Therefore, there's less people. Then they tax more, then more people flee. It's one of those things. So stop chasing passive income. Instead, chase massive income. Simple as that. Blow out the water your thoughts. Like what you think, like your salary now, of what you earn. Forget that. Disregard it. Set a really high target. Set yourself, right, I want 100k a month, or I want, let's say, something 20k a month. I want to hit that. Build digital assets, media, data, and code. Fill yourself with information. Build a personal brand. Build systems that give you performance-based income. For example, any inquiries from businesses that need AI implementation or PPC management watching my content, come to me, DM me on LinkedIn. I've directly made revenue off of this video. That's an example. My channel is relatively small now, so please hit the subscribe button. It would be greatly appreciated. But when it comes down to my message and my experience, I am been deep in the trenches for many years, and people can learn a lot from me. So, you build those systems, and that's why I'm in the position I am, building my own systems in this field. Create a lifestyle business if you want: fun, freedom, flexibility, location independence, tax independence. This is how you future-proof yourself in the AI age. Or you can just be like me with max ADHD and just want to get every ounce out of every single day and just work as hard as you can. I probably don't advise that. Lifestyle businesses would be the best choice, because life is for living. But yeah, I kind of live for work and I enjoy it. Apart from time with family, that's the only exception to that rule. So I hope this gives you a clear picture on what's happening. I wanted to go through everything in detail, why things feel so expensive, and how to respond strategically to this pivot that's happening before it happens. Because it's the same as anything. You set a task, like if you're moving house and you're moving house in 3 months and the solicitor sends you a letter, right? You don't send that letter back the same day. You send it back 3 weeks later or 2 weeks later. But if you had to move out of that house tomorrow, you would fill it in on that exact same day. So I'm trying to give you a heads up so that you start your journey before it becomes something that everyone is trying to do at the same time. And that will give you a leg up. If you enjoy this content, hit like, hit subscribe. I hope if you own a business, it's thriving. I hope that you're not struggling. If you are an employee or an entrepreneur who's just getting started, take this as motivation, because the opportunities that are going to arise in 2026 are something that has never been seen before. You have the ability to be able to become whoever you want to be, and the tools are going to be available for you to do that. Have you got the balls to take the jump? That's up to you. My name is Michael Elliott. I'll catch you in the next one.